Hi, you're listening to the My Body, My Story podcast.
I find at this age I am free because I don't care. Like, I really don't care if that person walking down the street looks at me and finds a fault or a flaw or something they don't like.
This is the 45 over 45 chapter, where we celebrate rule breakers and role models, the women who inspire us to live life our way and to show their sensuality, beauty, soul, and true essence. I'm your host, Elena, and I'm interviewing 45 women over the age of 45 while they're sitting in my makeup chair and getting their makeover for the project's photo shoot. Here we talk about what it's like to be 45 plus, adjusting to the changes that come with time, and we'll listen to the stories of our participants. If you have an interesting story to share, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us on info@alexandrawalcott.com, and that's Alexandra spelled with a KS, or visit our website alexandrawalcott.com.
Tell us a bit about yourself. Oh gosh. I suppose I start my story where I choose to start the new beginning, which is probably September 2 years ago. Yeah, not last year, the year before, when I walked out on my ex after 34 years together.
34 years?
Yeah, we were married about 28 years. We were together since we were 16. We've got 4 amazingly lovely children. I think for me it had probably been a process in myself that something in me knew that that wasn't something right, but I never knew what it was. And it took till then to sort of, we had our first major fight, and I think that was one of our biggest problems. We never fought or disagreed, because I would just sort of go, oh, it's not worth the fight. So, but then realised that was just killing me inside.
That's right.
So, and I'm not, like, it's not his fault or my, it's just,
It just happened.
Yeah, we were 16 when we met, and then we got married when I was 21, and then pretty much a year or two later we started having kids, and then I had 4 kids, sort of one after the other, and then running around after them as they were growing up. So there was never really time to work out who I was or anything like that. So I think I realised that, yeah, I didn't want to be that person that I was when I was with him anymore.
Yeah.
So, I packed a bag and I walked out.
Wow.
Yeah, had no idea where I was going to go.
No.
Thankfully, my best friend took me in. She only has a 3-bedroom house, and she has 2 boys, and they would spend a week or 2 at their nan's, so I could use their room, and then we'd alternate rooms. So I'd spend a week or 2 in one bedroom and then a week or 2 in another bedroom. And so, yeah, that was, I think I stayed there 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
And then my boss has a rental apartment in Blacktown.
Yep.
And he offered that to me at a fairly cheap rate at the time, because I didn't know where else I was going to go, and I'm pretty much been there ever since. So I've been there a year and 2 months now. Her neighbours found me furniture.
Mm-hmm.
So it's been
How long has it been now?
So September. Yeah, so 18 months since I moved out. So yeah, and it's been the craziest 18 months of my entire life.
It's a whole new journey.
It is, yeah. I mean, I was near the end, I was probably nearly 90 kilos.
Wow.
And a size 16. I clearly didn't lose the weight the right way. Stress, smoking, not eating. But when I did realise how much weight I had lost, I thought, I think I probably should take care of myself now, and that way, So I'm not trying to lose more weight, I just go to the gym probably 3-4 times a week, and either run or swim or go for a hike or something, anything outside now, anything. I hate being inside, I hate doing nothing. So yeah, it took me a lot of therapy, about 10, 11 months of seeing a psychologist. Best thing I ever did. She was incredible. I still have dark days and good days, but whereas before I didn't know how to handle the darker ones, with her help and obviously all my friends and that, it's a lot easier to, realise what when I'm about to crash and burn, and then go, well, it is what it is. And you sort of, I never really cried before or didn't want anyone to see me cry, so I think I held it all in.
Yeah.
And I didn't know how to handle that when I did break down, because I'd never done it before really. So
That's right. Held it all in. For
Then for about 10, 11 months I just sort of worked on me and just did absolutely nothing but sit on my balcony and either read or write poetry. Never written poetry in my entire life. And did absolutely nothing for 10 months, and it felt really good. And then I decided, no, now I need to do something, I need to get out, and so, and for the whole time too, I didn't want another man or anybody. Like, I knew I'd lost weight, but
You needed to
showing
do something.
myself to another man after being with one, and like only one from when I was 16, scared the absolute crap out of me, to be honest.
Of course.
I thought, yes, I know I've lost all this weight, but once you take the clothes off, I have had 4 kids. So there's still bits that are really, really floppy. And I was very, very self-conscious. And I thought, well, I don't know, and then of course COVID.
Yeah.
So I thought, well, how do you do this? Like, I'm 50 or nearly 50 at the time. How do you date or find someone, or not that I wanted a relationship yet. I don't think I was ready to just dive into a whole new thing. So I went on Tinder. That was an experience, to say the least. Yes. It certainly showed me that my flaws, or what I thought were my flaws, are completely and totally irrelevant. Most men really don't care one iota about, whether I've got stretch marks from here to here, or whether, this bit here, because
Only women care about those things.
I know, they just didn't. And my girlfriend thinks I'm being really lucky that nothing's happened. You hear all these stories, and she warned me, but I think for the first time I'm trusting my instincts, whereas before I used to just suppress everything I felt. So I'm actually trusting what my gut says, and I don't think you can be lucky that many times in a row. So I think it's me sort of choosing, or using my gut to choose rather than, my head. And I've got to say, all of them, every single one of them, have been absolutely lovely people as well, like gentlemen and sweet and tender and kind. Whether they were a one-night stand or friends with benefits, none of them have been relationships. I don't want one. But they've all been genuinely really nice people, which is really weird. I'm, at 50 and learning things from somewhat younger men.
Why not? What's wrong with that?
Nothing.
So to make up the lost time.
Yeah. So, but even the fairly young ones, they even were teaching me stuff that I didn't know, but with like a gentleness and an understanding. And it was just, it really sort of blew me away at how many guys out there, they're really nice. Yeah, and so patient with me. I know that I was older, but I'd never experienced anything.
Yeah.
As I said, I met my husband when I was 16, so the whole experience was brand new. So yeah, the level of patience and just, yeah, that blew me away. So, and yeah, I've been sort of, if something comes up and looks like I probably would never have done it before, or it sounds scary, I'm just yep, I'll do it. So yeah, that's me at the moment.
It's quite an incredible story.
So I have a biological mum, and I have an adopted mum. So because I was one of the child in the 70s where if the mum was pregnant, they hid her in a convent, and then she had the baby and they took the baby away and adopted it. So I'm one of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so that's another story. That's another story. So yeah, so my mum was only 19 and she wasn't married, so they packed her bags and sent her to Sydney.
Yeah.
And she had me, and then they sent her home.
Wow.
And then I was adopted.
So she was forced to leave?
Yeah, there was no such thing as like Centrelink or anything like that back then. So it was, yeah, it was pretty much if you were not married, your parents would pretty much, or your family would find the closest hospital that had a convent or something next to it.
Yeah.
And you lived there for the 8 to 9 months so people wouldn't see you be pregnant. And then you'd go to the hospital, you'd have the baby and they'd take it away, and then you went home and had to pretend that nothing happened. So it would have been awful. Like, I've had 4 kids and I could not imagine how that would have felt.
So they didn't stop her from seeing you though, right? Like they...
Yeah, no, that was it. Once she left me at the hospital, that was it. She wasn't allowed to keep in contact? No. But you know her, do you? Yeah, so the laws changed. So the laws used to be that you couldn't find out who your adopted parent, like who your biological parents were, and the biological parents couldn't find out where their child had gone. But the laws changed when I was about maybe 20.
Right.
Where once you turned 18, you could find out, and so could the parents. It was birth, deaths and marriages at the time, and you could put a block on it. So for $50, if you went in there, you could make sure that no one could find you. I didn't bother. For $50? Yeah, I know. I didn't bother, but for $150, you could go and they could give you all the information they had about either. So if I were to do it as the child, they would give me all the information they had about my biological parents and vice versa. But it was $150, and at the time they were only open from 9 till 4 Monday to Friday at Redfern, and I worked in Parramatta, and I thought I'd have to take a day off work, travel all the way into Redfern to pay $150, and that didn't guarantee anything. It was whether it was 10 pages or 100 pages they found, it was still the same price. And I thought, I'll do it, but I thought I'll just wait. You know, maybe when I'm thinking of having kids, I'll do it so that, you know, maybe I have some, you know, something that I pass on to the kids or whatever. But I know my mum had already done it. But she had the information for over a year and did nothing with it because she was terrified that I wouldn't...
She hasn't seen you for...
Yeah, well, it was at the time I was probably 22, 23, and she was absolutely terrified that I wouldn't want to meet her.
With her.
So she was at her auntie's 80th, and her cousin pinched the piece of paper out of her bag and rang me. So
Wow.
so that, and then we met. Her husband isn't my father. But he's always known about me, which is very rare.
Yeah.
Because normally they don't tell their next partner.
Yeah.
And also she had 3 other kids with her husband. And normally the adopted child is like a lot older, like 10, 15 years older, but I'm not. I'm actually, there's 4 years in between all of us. So
Only 4 years.
yeah. So my sister Jodie's 4 years younger than me, and then Emma's 4 years younger than Jodie, and then Adam's 4 years younger than Emma. So we sort of fit quite well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I went up and met they came down and met me, and then I went up and met the kids, and now we talk to each other at least every week.
Oh wow, that's so good.
Yeah, so that was, and I was adopted by Italian parents.
Mm-hmm.
Biologically, my mum's Irish, and my biological father is actually Italian as well. So I'm half.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So that's that story. I know. So.
And were you happy with your adopted parents?
Oh look, they loved me very, very much, and it surprised me very much because my dad was the last male of his family. So for a male to pick a female child,
Italians are different.
yeah, it was very surprising to me when I understood, what it all meant. Because at the end of the day, when I got married, his name ends.
Yeah.
Because he was the last male in his family. So for me, I thought it was very weird that he agreed with my mum to adopt a girl.
Yeah.
So,
had a feeling, had a connection.
yeah, I don't know. I just have this, and I can't prove it, but I have this sort of feeling that somewhere along the line someone knew someone who knew someone who knew I was half Italian and knew that family, and that's how I ended up with my mum and dad, because my mum came out on the same boat in 1964 as my biological father's parents. So, and then one of my mum's friends from the same village in Italy that came out with my mum, she settled in Orange, which is where my biological mum and father grew up. And she knows that family. And I'm like, there's too many coincidences for me to go, oh, it was just they picked me. I just have this sneaking suspicion that someone knows something and it was all prearranged.
Yeah.
So like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can't prove it and there's no way of knowing, but yeah, so now I talk to both. It's very weird. So I've got 2 mums.
Yeah.
My biological father's still alive. He still lives in Orange. He married and doesn't have any other kids.
Oh wow.
As you know, my biological mum married and has 3 more. My adopted mum, she lives in a little retirement village with like a lot of little old Italian ladies, so her English has gotten like terrible. It's almost non-existent now. And my dad passed away in 92. So yeah.
Wow.
That's another story.
Wow. I know. I almost need to digest this.
I know, it's really like, I mean, there's obviously lots more in there, but yeah, that's sort of. And my mum met each other probably about a year, no, maybe not even a year after I'd met my biological mum, because my dad had passed away. So I was really scared to tell my adopted mum that I'd found my biological mum, because I thought, oh, is she going to be upset? you know. She wasn't actually, because she had in her head, it was like, well, because they were a lot older, so Dad was 46 and Mum was 40 when they adopted me, so they were a lot older as parents. And when Dad passed away, she sort of was scared that when she passed, I didn't have siblings or anybody else, so the thought of having a whole nother family, she actually was really thankful. And the two of them are so cute. They're like 5 foot nothing, so they're tiny. So my biological mum is like little and blonde and, you know, petite, and my Italian mum's short, and the typical Italian mum, like her boobs are out here and she's just like full of, you know, hand movements and
so cute.
But together, they're so cute together. So yeah, so one was thankful that the other one gave me up because she wouldn't have had kids otherwise.
Okay.
And then the one that gave me up is thankful that I got parents that loved me. So yeah, it's all it is still a bit weird, yeah. So because not a lot of kids find their biological parents or then get along.
That's
or
right.
Then the biological and the adopted parents get along. So I've been really lucky. It's actually really, really surprising how much is hereditary compared to how you grow up. Like, you wouldn't think that, say, for example, how you hang your clothes on your washing line, you would think that that would be done sort of
how you're
taught to do it. Whereas my maternal mum, she hangs her washing the exact same way I do.
And you've never seen her.
And I didn't know her till I was in my mid-20s. So it is really, really weird. Now I thought, you know, I'm fairly loud when I talk, especially when I get excited. And I talk a lot with my hands. And I thought, well, that's just the Italian, which is true because I am half and I grew up, you know, in an Italian household. But when I go to Queensland to see my family from there, my sister Emma, she's just as loud as me. So it's, you know, it's amazing to think how much is actually just in your genes, regardless of how you grew up. It really is incredible. So yeah, it's very weird. But
what are you most passionate about?
oh wow, that's, yeah, I saw that question and I'm like, oh, how do I answer that? I don't know. I think I'm just trying the last 18 months. I suppose the first 10 months or so, I don't count because they were the ones that I just spent sitting and contemplating and, you know, worrying about who I was and what I was going to do being on my own. I don't think I have a particular passion. I'm just trying everything. If I was to pick one now, it'd probably be being outside in nature. Just being in a park or in a rainforest or under a tree or any of the above, somewhere outside where there's green, I think would be my current passion.
To connect with nature. Yeah,
I just find it really peaceful, and I know it's very cliche, but I just find it, it's sort of, you breathe differently, you feel differently. So yeah, at every opportunity I get, I'll pick somewhere and just go for a hike. Somewhere I haven't been before, and I just sort of go, that looks like a good destination. So, or crazy things like, what did I do? I'm going down to, I just booked an Airbnb down in Jindabyne so I can climb Mount Kosciuszko. Just because. There's a eco tour in Byron Bay and they only do it 4 times a year. It's very expensive. It's $500 a day. I know, but they only do it 4 times a year and they only take 10 people at a time. and you stay in an eco cabin, and breakfast, lunch and dinner are all provided. And you do 6 hikes in those 3 days, and the last day is a hike with one of the Indigenous aunties from the region, and then she cooks you an Aboriginal lunch. And I've gone, I keep looking at it on Facebook and I think it's really expensive, but it just, each time I look at it I think it just sounds amazing, so I booked it. And my girlfriend goes, "You're gonna go to Byron Bay?" And I went, "Yep." She goes, "How you get there?" I went, "I'll drive." And she goes, "It's like 8 hours." And I went, "Yeah."
Sorry?
And she goes, "So no one's going with you?" And I went, "No."
Adventurous spirit.
I did ask all my friends who wanted to, but some can't afford it, some couldn't, you know, it's too, like, it's not till November, so some didn't want to commit that far out. And I thought, well, too bad, I'm going. So, yeah.
What does it mean for you to feel good and look good?
Well, feeling good, I suppose, comes from, you know, what makes you happy, what makes you feel good, not just because of how you look, things you enjoy doing. Looking good, that's more of a, I suppose, what you look like on the outside, but that's sort of, you know, again, to me it depends on how I feel on the inside. So I used to wear makeup every day for 30 odd years. I think that was because I didn't feel good inside or outside. It was sort of to hide. I haven't worn makeup for probably 3 or 4 months now. Or done my hair. I used to have really, really short hair and I used to do it every single morning. Gel, wax, hairspray, everything. It was, everything was done to a...
Perfection.
Pretty much, pretty much I wash my hair, I put on some mascara and I walk out the door. And that's me now. So I think looking good is more of a, I think it does make a difference, feeling good on the inside. You stop caring if you meet a perception on how you look on the outside because you feel good. So you look good on the outside because you don't care that there's a perception that should you have this or should you look like that.
Your personal perception of yourself changes.
Yeah, and I think that's the most important, because people are always going to either like you or not like you, or like something about you or not like something about you, but you can't please everybody. So I think yourself has to be the first one. So
what makes you feel the most beautiful?
That's a good question. Like, I felt okay coming today in just my jeans and a t-shirt. When I'm outside, just enjoying being outside. I think it's sort of, for me, I feel like if I were to look at myself when I'm happy being outside, that's probably when I am the most beautiful, even though I'm probably not wearing any makeup, or I've probably just been on a hike and I've got bright red face from the exercise or whatever. But if someone were to, I suppose, capture that, I think that's when I would be the most beautiful, because that's when I'd feel
the most
the best.
happy.
Yeah. I mean, beauty, I suppose, you know, I can be beautiful if someone put a, you know, lot of makeup and false eyelashes on. And you would feel beautiful too, because I suppose inside, every woman, regardless of how old they are, has that little girl that, you know, wants to look like a princess.
That's right.
And wants to, you know, have, you know, the nice long eyelashes and the, you know, the lippy and all the other things that go with it. And they do, like, everybody deserves to look like that, but it doesn't make you I suppose, the most beautiful just because you've got that on.
It's kind of a superficial.
Yeah, it is, and it's lovely to have, but there's a time and a place. You know, I can't do this every morning to go to work, even though I'd look, you know, more beautiful, I suppose, superficially, if I were to put a lot of makeup on every morning when I went to work, but you can't. So this is sort of like a, you know, for special occasions, but in life I think beauty is just what makes you happy.
Where do you think the idea of perfect body image comes from?
Personally, I don't think there is one.
Yeah.
I don't think there is a perfect body.
Where do you think the image comes from?
I suppose, unfortunately, from what I can sort of, you know, understand of the media and all the social media and things like that, I think a lot of the perfect body comes from, you know, watching shows or watching people on social media or Instagram where they can, you know, make themselves look a certain way for that 2.5 seconds of that photo, and then they don't look like that at all. And unfortunately that seems to be the perception of the perfect body. And yeah, it's just it seems a bit, yeah, it's all very superficial, and there's nothing wrong with, you know, having a good body or not a good body. It just depends on the person. But for me, no, I think it's more of a, if you're healthy and you're happy with how you look, then that's the perfect body.
Yeah.
It took me a while because, you know, obviously I feel differently about my body now that I've lost all my weight. And obviously I think that I look better now than I did before. And that goes against what I just said, because clearly I wasn't happy with my body before.
But it's also the way it made you feel in terms of health, right? Like it still associates with health.
Yeah, I wasn't healthy, and I was having a lot of health issues as well because of it. So yeah, I wasn't happy. But even my friends, when I said how much I'd lost, couldn't believe that I actually weighed 90 kilos. No, you never looked it. I tried, well, you wear certain clothes that, you know, make you look a bit better in that weight, but
You felt it though.
yeah. And for me, it's not just so much about losing the weight. It is about being healthier and, you know, being able to fit in whatever clothes I feel like I want to wear and not have to be hiding behind, you know, big t-shirts or whatever. But I've got girlfriends that are skinnier than me, girlfriends that are larger than me, and I don't see any of them any differently than each other, if that makes sense. Like I see them all the same in my eyes because they're all beautiful people.
Yeah.
So even my male friends, I've got some male friends that are, you know, into the gym and have, you know, ripped abs and look absolutely gorgeous. And then I've got a friend I've had since I was 19, so I'm 50.
Yeah.
So I was at 31 years. Me and Benson have been friends, and he's a little on the larger side, but I don't see that. I just see him, and he's beautiful because he's, you know, he's a good friend and he's got a good heart, and, you know, he's always been there for me. So I worry for him because he is larger, because he has some health issues, but as far as image wise, yeah, that's not important anymore. So yeah, for me, I don't think there is one.
What advice would you give your 30-year-old self?
Oh my goodness. Hindsight is a wonderful thing. Unfortunately, I would probably tell my 30-year-old self to listen to my intuition and to go out on my own and be myself with no regrets and no apologies, and not to feel like I have to be someone or something different because someone doesn't like who I am. To experience life, to go out and just be completely and unapologetically insane, because being crazy and doing really crazy things is just the best thing ever. My girlfriends, sometimes I'll tell them what I've done and they'll just shake their head and look at me and go, oh my God, but okay, whatever.
If it makes you happy.
Yeah, if I could have done that in my 30s, there would be so much more I could have done or would have done. But having said that, I wouldn't have had my 4th child either. So as much as being who I am now, I love more than anything in the world. I can be me with no filter, which some people who know me sort of like think that's a scary thought, because I don't have a filter anymore. I just, you ask, I will tell the truth, and they go, could you have said that in a different way? No, I couldn't, because you asked, and that's what's going to happen is I'm just going to tell you what I think. Yeah. It's a little scary sometimes for some people. Like even my bosses will ask my opinion, and I'll say to them, are you sure you want the truth? Yes, we want you to tell us the truth. Are you ready? Because it's not going to be filtered, it's not going to be sugar coated, it's not going to have like pretty little pink bows anywhere on it. So I think that's what I'd tell my 30-year-old self, is to be true to who you are. And I know, again, another very big cliche, but it's really important. To lose yourself and who you are is terrible. Like, it's taken me nearly 2 years to find out who I am after 30 odd years of being with someone and being someone else's partner, or being someone's mum, or being someone's chauffeur, or being there for the kids, being there for the friends, being there for because my mum is 90 and doesn't speak English, so being her interpreter, her driver. So always being there for other people.
Not yourself.
Yeah, that was probably the hardest things I've ever had to do, is find out who I am, and the fear that I'm old or older, and that I don't have that much time left to find who I am, and then actually embrace it and live it. Yeah. And what if it takes me the next 5 to 10 years? Well, then I'm 60 and then I'm in a nursing home. Obviously that's an exaggeration, but but then if I said that to my 30-year-old self, I wouldn't have had my 4th child. So I really do think, after this whole 2 years experience, I really do think things happen for a reason, and I'm meant to be wherever I am at that time. So I think in the last 2 years when I left, I needed somewhere to stay, I needed furniture, I was ready to get back out there and see people, and everything I needed. It was never like, why is this happening to me? Or I never felt that victim sort of mentality. So I just go, well, you know what, it sucks, but whatever happens, and every time I've needed something so desperately, because I think it's because I haven't asked for it, or I haven't, you know, it's literally just fallen in my lap. So I really do think that I wasn't meant to leave my husband until I did, because I wouldn't have been ready. I wouldn't have been the person I am now if I had have done it any earlier. Yeah, I really do. Like, you know, I desperately needed somewhere to stay other than my girlfriend's, because her kids couldn't keep staying at their nan's, and my boss offered me his place. I needed furniture, and as awful as it was, my girlfriend's neighbour's mum passed away, so he had a house full of furniture that he had to get rid of. You know, I was ready to embrace seeing other people, and I jokingly said, you know, I'm not going to actively go out there, you know, thinking every next guy might be a potential date or whatever, but if Young and Hunky fell in my lap, I'm not going to say no. And that was just a joke, and that literally happened, and that was pretty amazing. Although short-lived, but every single one have served a purpose. They've taught me something about me, whether I still see them now. I've been seeing a guy since September. We're just friends with benefits. And yes, they can exist. Some people think that that's, you know, it's a myth, and no, you can't, because feelings always get in the way. No, and that's another thing I think about my age, is that you can distinguish between the two. I think a 30-year-old me, no, there's no way. You wouldn't have been able to do because at 30 I think you still feel that you want a relationship with the person that you're going to love for the rest of your life. And don't get me wrong, I want that desperately now, but if I don't get it, you know. But so yes, I think that, and that's why I think a lot of the men I've seen or dated have all been younger, somewhat younger.
That's a great experience.
Because they like the same thing. If they're not wanting a relationship, they find that the older woman who, they know who they are, they know what they want, they're not looking for the next, you know, knight in shining armour. And yeah, so this guy I've been seeing since September last year, and yeah, we talk nearly every 2 or 3 days. There doesn't go 2 or 3 days where he doesn't text. And he's just really sweet, and we do. When we both have a chance, we get together, and it's absolutely incredible and lovely. And then he goes back to his place, and I go back to my place, and we continue on with our lives. Yeah, it does work. It works really well. So I think, and that's why it happened now, because I don't think my 30-year-old self could have done that. So yeah, I think I needed to be stronger at 30, but I was where I was supposed to be.
Yeah, shouldn't change it, because you wouldn't have gotten to this place.
No, because it is very much a sliding doors moment, where if you walk through that door, this will happen. If you walk through that door, this will happen. But I truly believe that the end result is the same for everybody. So I don't know whether you believe in fate or not. I don't know either. I think, but the destination for everyone is what it is. And how we get there, that's our free will. So we don't have a choice where our destination is. It will always be what it is. But how we get there is where our free will comes in. We can choose that path where it's the long way, but it's the scenic route, and it's got challenges, and it's got ups and downs, and it's, you know, you think, oh my God, you know, say, I suppose your car broke down and you have to now walk the rest of the way, or it's going to take you 5 years instead of 2 years. Or you can take this path where it's a completely direct route, but you'll get there a lot faster, but there won't be anything in between. So I think that's where the free will comes in. So yeah, I know that somewhere along the way I'll end up in the right place or where I'm supposed to be, but I'm just going to enjoy the journey that I've decided to take, which is clearly the scenic route and the very long way around, but that's okay.
But scenic, right?
Yeah, that's right. That's the whole point. Yeah. So it's sort of like there's a book I was reading where it said you can either take the taxi or the car you drive and go straight there, or you can get in a magical car and it then just decides where it's going to go, and you just sit back and go and enjoy the ride. And you think, well, hang on, but your destination's on the left and the car's turning right, and you think, well, clearly it's going the wrong way, but maybe that way there's a lesson you need to learn before you can get to your destination. So yeah, I've become very philosophical and I know, but
that's good. What advice would you give younger women that will eventually undergo these changes?
I suppose embrace them. Again, very cliche, but it's true. You do change for the better, although there is the ugly word of menopause that has to be noted in that phrase. I went through early menopause, so I was only 43 when I started, and it's awful and it's terrible, and it does affect you mentally as well, a lot. I'm still on tablets after 7 years. I can't go off them. But I think even though it's been painful and it's been a long journey, and I still get really bad hot flushes, I think embrace it only because I find at this age I am free because I don't care. Like, I really don't care if that person walking down the street looks at me and finds a fault or a flaw or something they don't like, and I'm clearly not for you. But there are confident women out there, and every person, whether they're male or female, has a confident side, but deep down inside will always question something or always not like something. There's parts about me that I still don't like, but do I not like them enough to do something about it? Nah, because I can't be bothered. It's just, I've often thought about getting a nose job because I don't like my nose. I've got a Roman nose from the Italian side, but I've also had it broken, so it's even bigger than it should have ever been. When I was younger, I just didn't have the money. Now that I have the money, would I do it? No, because clearly I'm too old to care, and clearly the people that like me don't care, what size my nose is. Because I've lost weight and I have had 4 kids. This bit here is, when I lean over, it just saggy skin. It's just excess skin. Do I want to do something about it? Does it bother me? Yes, it does bother me sometimes, but do I want to go through surgery and 6 to 8 weeks of recovery just to get rid of a bit of fat, a bit of extra skin? No, because I'm too lazy to do that sort of stuff, and then I won't be able to go out, and I won't be able to go hiking, and I won't be able to do things that make me happy. So I think if anything, I would be to embrace the changes and actually just go with it and not fight what's coming, because it'll come. And if you fight, I think it'll just hurt you more mentally. So just go with it and be happy in the knowledge that you can be a bitch and people just go, oh, she's just getting older. And that's awesome.
What is your favourite quote about being a woman?
I don't know if it's about being a woman so much. It was a quote that actually made a difference in me about when I first started this 18-month journey. It's a bigger quote that I can't remember all of it, but the main part was, if you never ask, the answer is always no. The answer might still be no when you ask, but you'll never know if you never ask. So even if the answer is no, you'll have an answer though, and then you can move on rather than just thinking of
And wondering.
what it could be or if it's worth asking or whatever. So as scary as asking a question is, especially of a person that you think you might like and see if they like you in return, that's probably one of the scariest questions to ask. But if you don't ask,
You won't know.
you'll never know. Unfortunately, the answer was no in my case, and that was very sad. But I didn't then spend the next 4 months wondering. I could go, okay, it's sad. I'll spend today in bed crying and feeling sorry because that's normal and allowed, and then tomorrow you get up and do it again. So yeah, so not so much about women, but certainly that's what's made me change who I am. Yeah.
Inspiring. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, thank you. It's been exciting.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
If you have an interesting story to share, we'd love for you to participate. You can email us on info@alexandrawalker.com, and that's Alexandra spelled with a KS, or visit our website alexandrawalker.com.